Imagine if you're in a situation where you feel you can't do that. You got 4 kids, 5 kids, you got the government on your neck, you've been disabled from serving the government,
if at all.
Right? So whatever the case may be, right? And so you pull out your phone and you see somebody flaunting, even if the back of your mind tells you that this is fake, this is a photo, this has been altered. Yeah. It's still a notion of, in your life though, you still ain't it.
As we are trying to be progressive minded, as in moving forward thinkers.
100%.
I have like a lot of questions that I ask and write down while I'm taking phone calls at work. Mainly because I question human nature.
Facts.
All day
it's good.
long. Matter on the phone, doesn't matter if we're at Walmart, especially people watching out in public. I love it. But I always question people. So the question that I posed to my father being a ex-pastor, evangelist, ex-professor,
a very well-learned individual.
Well-learned,
in
brilliant.
book and life experience.
Oh my God.
Fantastic person to talk to.
Amazing. So my pops and we always have these discussions. So this time I brought my pen out and I just said, let me just keep notes on what's going on.
Let me put it on paper.
Right.
Make it official.
Document this thing. So the question that I posed is, why is our society full of so many angry people? And I'm talking about men, women alike, old, young. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter your sexual orientation. Doesn't matter where you're from. It's like the majority of us are walking the majority of the time in anger or some variation therein, like frustration, agitation, anxiety, things like that. Why are we there? You know what I'm saying? Do you have a preliminary guess or statement you want to say?
I do, but the initial question that I just thought of is, was there ever a point in time are you talking society as in the world or just society as the U.S.?
Ooh.
Because
that's great.
Okay.
So didn't think of it to that magnitude. I actually was staying in the United States.
Okay.
But now that you brought it up to that.
If it's the U.S., I think that's safer, right? Because we
definitely can define it within the United States.
It's
the world kind of has some variation culturally.
Exactly. So it's
little nuances
in the U.S. Was there ever a point in time where people weren't angry, the mass society? I didn't think so either. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. So because there's not, I would say because in the U.S., we always had capitalism in itself means be better than the next.
Okay.
And so it's a constant reminder of be better than the next.
Right.
And as technology began to expand, now you have it in your hands that you have to be better than the next. Ooh. Therefore, when you know you're not better than the next, because I'd imagine Jay-Z them sitting at the top like,
yeah, what's up? Where y'all at?
Right. But
it was the next guy.
to get to the top, you got to stump on them. And so some would argue that because the process of already stumping on people, you've already disassociated yourself with society. And so you've gotten yourself to the self-pinnacle of happiness or fulfillment that no one can bring down, right? Ooh. So imagine if you're not the 1%, assuming that's what the statistic is.
Okay.
Imagine if you're not the 1% and you know in your brain, because I feel this way. I get frustrated if I know I'm not making progressive steps. I get frustrated, and all right, so now you gotta get cut off. Something gotta change because I gotta put myself there. But imagine if you're in a situation where you feel you can't do that. You got 4 kids, 5 kids. You got the government on your neck. You've been disabled from serving the government,
if at all.
Right. So whatever the case may be, right. And so you pull out your phone and you see somebody flaunting. Even if the back of your mind tells you that this is fake, this is a photo, this has been altered. Yeah, it's still a notion of in your life though, you still ain't ish. Yeah. So it just makes you unhappy.
Wow. Go ahead, man.
So it's
go ahead.
The constant reminders would be the simple answer. Be them external and internal. You're constantly reminded of feeling inadequate. And so you see people try to put socialism, but the ultimate reason why I would never become a socialist and why I love capitalism is because it shows human nature.
Okay.
Even if the world in practical socialism, someone got stumped on.
Right.
Lots of people got stumped on.
That's right.
And that's because the human nature says be better than the next. If that person has something I want, I should try to get it or take it. It's as simple as that.
Yep. You, my good sir. I'm telling you, he read, boy. That boy read. So, when I saw my dad light up when I brought this question to him,
light up like Christmas.
Similar to just what you just did, right? It was just like he was just like, well, let me sit and get comfortable, and we're gonna talk about this.
It's that Uncle Rusty. I always think of his rice. I love his rice, right? He put the peas in there, and I can just in my brain imagine he got these thoughts and this rice in the bowl and in this pie, and he putting the chickpeas in there and stuff, ready. And you take a whiff of that.
It was as good as it sounded.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. That was great. So I had a few thoughts when I spoke to my pops, and you were right on to it, Brest. Like seriously. Me personally, I was saying anger is not racist. It isn't any of the ists or isms. It just fuels them in negative manners.
Perfect.
Right?
That's really good.
More like what was I saying? More like our chosen response to anger is negative. Usually when we're angry, we have our predetermined response to be like, you know what? I'm going to choose to see red. I'm going to choose to black out, quote unquote, where you pretty much know what you're doing, but we can say we don't know what we're doing. But at the same token, go ahead, by all means, because you didn't go through enough training to really have the instincts of a
that's what it
crazy
is.
animal. I'm just saying.
Training for sure.
So that's where I'm like, let's take our time, because those predetermined responses are our choosing. You choose to come out, to start out angry. They say what it is, 0 to 100, like that. Like somebody just start talking, the next thing you know, what?
Went to 0 to 100 real quick.
That I disagree with wholeheartedly, mainly because I don't like talking to people like that. I will completely disconnect from the conversation. Nobody's making progress here. And then when you try to force my conversation, I'm going to take that as being bullied. And then I'm going to be as annoying and rebellious as possible to your cause or whatever you're trying to say or force me to do. Mainly because I feel my rights are infringed upon. That's all. That's all. But to continue with the vein we're speaking of as far as anger in our society, right? The first one my pops brought up was the right to free speech. You have the right to say whatever it is you want. The right to just blurt it out as loud as you'd like. You could put it on a billboard. But there are some consequences that happen behind your words being said out and things of that nature. But that's a totally different video, or should it be the same video? Because we don't take accountability for the consequence, or we don't even think about consequences. Most people live their lives with thinking that there's no consequence, just like with Black privilege. Black people live in certain instances as though they cannot be touched.
That's true.
White people do it. Asian people do it in certain scenarios. Any and everybody has their opportunity, and they take full advantage of trying to say I'm better up, or I'm one up. I got a win under my belt. They just keep it away from Henry. We good. But nonetheless, you have anything to say about that one?
Absolutely. Please. So in the first one, the question, I think is interesting. Okarasi would say free speech. Is he saying it stimulates the anger? No, it's giving you the opportunity to express that anger and to be able to not only keep the anger, it's like to keep it, like the conversation that comes from being able to say what I want. I could lie to myself. I could lie to the world. And I can keep this scenario that inflicts or invokes this anger in me. Okay, so because I would say, like that says, it seems like, okay, then it's a pipeline for anger. Okay. I would say it's a double-edged sword.
I can dig it
because
hit me with the double.
Imagine if you can't. Imagine if you can't speak.
Okay.
Like remember you're in a relationship and you can't say what you really feel because you know it'll upset the other person and then they'll get nowhere. So then you have that anger pinning inside you, right?
It's festering. Yes.
Yeah. Or you're in a situation where your boss is popping off at work and I need this money because these kids need to eat. And you just sitting there looking at him, and one day your eye gets the red veins, and he may catch an uppercut or he may, and all these things are feeling it. And then you go take therapy, and you get to talk, you get to exercise that speech, and it relieves it, right? In a lot of ways, what we have here is therapeutic because we can express ourselves. So, I think it's definitely a double-edged sword. I can definitely see, you're in a group with a bunch of angry people and y'all just saying all these angry things and it can escalate. Echo chamber? Oh yeah. So it's definitely in the ways when we first started this thing, we were talking about healthy conversation.
Yes.
And having a healthy conversation because freedom of speech can definitely be bad, but it can definitely be good.
We got some monsters out here. Boy. I'm talking about people, tiny people with the biggest, egos, most vile, nastiest mouths and like, whoa, I'm shocked. Like, there's been moments where I've had like, matter of fact, I've listened to women talk sometimes, and I'm like, whoa, I gotta go. Like, I don't even know how to respond to this because I'm going against my nature right now because my nature is telling me, hey, don't hurt this woman. But my instincts right now is telling me this person is inciting the violence in you. So guess what my predetermined response is? I give you a deuce.
Give you deuces.
Chris Brown style moonwalk on you. Let me get out of here. I'm not. No. I'm all about self-preservation. My spirit is very important. So no, we're not. Anyway, that's me. Good. But the right to free speech.
I hold that.
Well said as far as the pipeline. Also well explained as far as it being a dual-edged sword.